Speakeasy. I'm Hayley.
And I'm Jenny. And I mean, I put my hair up. I don't know if subconsciously, because we were going to talk about admin. And this is kind of what I do when I'm ready to admin. Hair goes up.
All right, Violet Beauregard.
Oh, I don't know that
You
reference.
don't know that reference? A series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. And like the whole thing with her is like when she's about to have like a brainwave or do something into action, she like puts her hair up in a ribbon and she ties her hair up. So.
I think I've noticed that subconsciously every time I'm like, right, here we go. Here it needs to go up. But I guess, yeah, right. As producers, we were realizing that we do a lot of admin in general. It is actually a large part of what we do. And it's probably the part that you least want to acknowledge that you have to do, because it is really boring and it's just tedious, and who loves admin? Not me. But I guess we thought this episode we just talk a little bit, like, we're both going to be quite honest. Like, I would not say I am the queen of admin. Come to me with all the tips you need and that I'm always on top of things, but more things that we've probably done which kind of help us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason this topic came up was because I was talking to you and Mia about how I'd actually just had kind of like a full reset, and I won't lie, like life gets messy and life gets really stressful, and I just got to a point where everything was so overwhelming and like my inbox and my calendar was crazy and I was not managing my days, and it was starting to impact on work. And a friend of mine, Zoe Hill at Premier Admin Services, and I work with her with a client, I was telling her about how I was feeling and about like that kind of overwhelm, and she went, right, come and be with me for half a day. We're going to go through what you're doing. We're going to look at your overall process, how you manage your work, how you manage your day, and we're going to find something that works for you. So she sent me this like huge list of like, okay, how do you structure your day? How do you structure your inbox? How many emails do you currently have? How many are read? How many are unread? What does your setup look like? And the email that I sent back was, I love all these questions. I'm going to be very honest. There is no process at the moment. It's just fighting fires. It's just dealing with things as they come in. But then the problem is there was so many things that were going unanswered. You know, people getting frustrated because they're not getting an answer from me or something, and I'm just in this pit. And I'd done it before where I would keep an inbox clear and all of that, but sometimes where there's too many things going on, or maybe you're in a point with like a production cycle where it's just overwhelming and there's not enough hours in the day and not enough brain power. So she sat down with me and she went, right, we are just going to bring structure, and we'll talk a bit about it. So,
I mean, I think it's what you said, right? It's that moment of sometimes just acknowledging things are getting out of control and just being like, right, reset. Do you know, like, and I think sometimes we put, even now that you're doing this reset and even now that I try and implement some things, it's not putting that much pressure on yourself that this has to become like every day you have to be like this. Like, don't guilt trip yourself. If that week you just have had a bad week, great, but just try and go back into the next week. So like, for example, what I try and do, and to be honest, it changed my life when it was the whole like inbox zero. Yeah. So essentially is I try and file everything. Yeah. And then that way, whatever's going on in my main inbox, whatever's left, you know, I can sense how I'm coping with things at that point. So usually sometimes what I do is just like, for example, this week I had quite a manic week. Like even just on one day, I got 130 emails coming through. That was a lot when I'm also having lots of meetings going on. And instead of just on Tuesday evening being like, oh, my inbox has still got loads going on, I was just like, okay, Friday afternoon, I'm blocking that out. And the Friday, I'm going to make sure that I reach that inbox zero, and then I can relax over the weekend. Yeah. Knowing that everything's actually been answered and everything's under control. And it makes me be able to relax over the weekend, to be honest.
And that Sunday scary is not so scary.
Exactly. Because you're like, I sent all the emails I had to.
Yeah. And you know, Monday, there'll probably be one or two subscription emails or maybe something randomly's come in, but it's not going to be an overwhelming, like 40 emails need responding to.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you leave 5 and you're like, okay, but it's because I'm waiting on people and this, and it's like a way of keeping on the radar. But to be honest, yeah, I think it helps me also just realize when I'm starting to lose control of things.
Yeah. It's funny because you said like about this doesn't need to be an everyday thing. I think I got to a point, and this is where now my calendar and everything has been reset, that I have a daily structure now. And that's because I was not keeping a structure, and I was just going through the motions. So now what Zoe went through with me was, and not just like looking at the overall workday, but even just blocking in, okay, you're going to be up at, 7, and I was making sure that I was incorporating a lot of kind of like well-being and self-care into it, because really what I was doing was I would wake up, look at my phone and start answering emails, which is so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And when you get into that mindset of basically as soon as you wake up, you're looking at a screen and you're immediately going into work mode without actually having woken up properly and, had a cup of tea, breakfast, maybe go for a walk or something and actually start your day properly. And so now there's like a time block in my diary of, okay, you're going to get up and you're going to go and make sure that you go for a walk or something, because otherwise if I'm sat at my desk and I've got meetings all day, I'm not going to leave my desk.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is sticking in a half an hour break to make sure that actually I don't schedule anything in the midday when I should have something to eat or go outside or something. Don't just sit at my desk all day. And I know how basic it sounds, but I think I always say is like, I think a lot of people might relate to the fact that when we join the workforce, we don't get taught how to manage and structure our days, meetings, admins and tasks, how to look after your inbox and your calendar. And it is done as like, figure it out as you go along, take advice from people that you work with. But everyone works differently. Like we've all got different, some people are very structured and very routined. If I don't put those things in, like I won't follow it.
I think it's also just the reality that our industry and especially our role, burnout is very real. And it's just very easy to slip into that phase, that routine, because slowly you're just getting busier and busier and you're just constantly, okay, well, it's 2 weeks before an event, this needs to happen. But then there'll be those 2 weeks happen, the event happens, but there's another event coming along and it's also in a very stressful phase. So it's just really, I think, finding the ways that you can avoid burning out, because for me it's more like in the evenings I no longer, like I really do need to find a way of switching off. And I even actually, I'm quite honest with my family and my friends and stuff, where I say sometimes you're not going to hear from me in the evenings. I don't want to WhatsApp this week. I've got really stressful, and to be honest, texting starts feeling like an email, and that really stresses me out, and I don't want my friends and family to feel like work. So sometimes just acknowledging, I tell my family straight up, I'm like, this is a really horrid week for me. I've got too many calls. I'm over socializing professionally, essentially. And sometimes just in the evening, I just need to decompress, whether it's I go to a Pilates class for an hour, whether it's I literally just want to binge watch 2 hours on Netflix and play a silly game on my phone, whatever it is. But I need to find moments where my brain just quietens down, because if not, you just burn out.
Mine's always, it gets to the doom scroll in the evening. I'm on TikTok or something, and then suddenly 2 hours is gone, and I'm like, oh my God. I feel like that's not good either, though. So I started reading. That was mine. But then I found that really helped me switch off, because, like, no screens.
Yeah, I mean, last year, actually, that probably a sign. Last year I read 36 books.
Love that for you.
I love that for me, but I think that was just a show that really I just was overworked. And during the evenings, I just was trying to switch off as much as I could, which has also helped. It really helped me manage and cope. So I guess it's just also finding a little bit of the balance with that.
I think we agree, like, those different levels of stress happen at different points of the production cycle. I know for me, I find it's those 2 weeks before on site. Once you're on site, it's a go with the flow feeling. You just go with what's happening. But those kind of, like that month before, 2 to 4 weeks where you're in prep mode, I find that's the busiest time. Because it's the make or break point, isn't it? Where if things aren't going to get done, it's not going to get delivered well. Have you got any good tips that you've put in recently on how to manage stress, admin, inbox, anything like that?
I mean, yeah, as I said, for me, honestly, the inbox zero kind of changed a bit my life, of just noticing what's happening and what isn't. I'll be quite frank, I've tried the whole calendar thing and putting in time, but I can't stick to it. But it's more because I noticed that at the end of the day, I'm juggling multiple clients sometimes at the same time. And if a speaker is like, I'm only free at this time, and I've penciled in that it's my time to do admin, I just don't, I'll say yes, because it's just harder. But I think what I really try and do is the Friday afternoons. It's just when I'm like, catch up.
Yeah.
I go to a coffee shop nearby my house, just relax and spend 2 hours with music or a podcast that I like and just do as much of the admin as possible.
Yeah. I think, because I always think I know whenever I talk to anyone, I say like the craziest part of it is prep phase and when you're doing prep calls and you need to send briefs out afterwards. And I think we talked about AI before. I think things like Otter and a lot of the AI assistants that are sitting on meetings now and can take notes are great.
Yeah.
Really helpful. And if you can then take those and put them into the brief. I think leaning on your moderator, like I always think about panels, those are the big ones. Like for me, the big briefs, leaning on moderators to finalise those questions rather than constantly putting it on the producer. But I find same probably thing, kind of like calendar blocking out. When are you doing those notes? And when are you sending them out? That's probably going to be my new thing going forward. One of the advice that I had, which actually really helped in some of those bigger meetings that happen every week, is blocking half an hour before that meeting to do your prep, like what was covered last time, what needed to be done. And then immediately afterwards, you know, going over your notes from that meeting and doing any action straight away. It's such a simple thing, but otherwise it would just be stuck on my to-do list to do at some point. But actually doing it fresh while it's in my mind before I'm about to jump on like more speaker calls and bringing more information into my brain and like losing some of those immediate things. I know it all sounds basic, and like being this however many years into my career now and needing to completely reset my admin process.
It happens. You go through waves. The other one I've done recently also, I've just have like a template saved where it's easy access, where essentially when I finish, this is when I'm trying to convince someone to be a speaker, and you do that call and they agree on that call. And it's so easy to be like, yay, great, I'll send you an email, like whatever, like cool. I now just have this template where the second I'm off that call, I copy and paste this template and I'm like, lovely to speak, great to confirm you on this session, this time, this, and I already send out all the information that they essentially need and get it done at that point. Because if I leave it to like the end of the day, then sometimes you're just like, oh,
I'll do it tomorrow, and then it follows on throughout the week of it's just on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then the more you see it, I'm a more person, the more I see it on the to-do list, the less I want to do it as well sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like my brain just, I don't know.
My problem is multiple to-do lists is the other one. Like I still think it's the best way is writing my to-do list by hand rather than using like maybe a tech or like a software or a service. I just find it doesn't work. I need that to-do list next to me on my desk every day and try and get as much of that done in a day. Otherwise it goes to tomorrow. But I got into such a habit. I was just grabbing any bloody notebook I could get my hands on because I have 100 of them. And I just had to-do lists everywhere and it was so chaotic. So I've had to lock away all the notebooks and just have one. But yeah.
And I think also the other one I would say just on admin wise or when things get out of control is just be vocal. To be honest, tell your team. Tell the marketing team, tell your manager, tell whoever it is, but like don't leave it to yourself because those people are not going to know how much you've got going on. They might not understand that you are a bit overwhelmed maybe at that certain point. But if you are just saying, I actually have a lot going on, they'll understand. If you don't tell them, they'll get frustrated. That's when the team starts thinking, is she really doing her job? Or like, why has she not sent that email back yet? Just be very transparent.
Yeah. That's actually a very good point because I can be a total yes man. Somebody says, Hayley, can you get this done? And I'm like, yep, absolutely good. But I don't communicate what is my availability at the moment to get that done. What does my task list look like? What is my priority? And I go, yeah, I'll get that done. But then it's just getting pushed down that priority list as other things are becoming like more urgent or I'm not looking after that in the right way. And then, people are going to get frustrated. And I mean, that's exactly what happened with me and why this whole process of Zoe coming in to completely revamp. And because I think I work with her and a client very closely and they could see that I was struggling. And then I just go, no, I'm fine. Yes, I can do it because I don't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
But actually, I needed to look at myself, how I was working, recognizing that burnout, and then having somebody just basically pull me up and go, sort your shit out, Hales. Which is basically, what was it? That wasn't how they said it, but it was that. It was, you can't continue like this because it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
And having somebody pull me up and say, you could do this so much better. And actually, even as basic and as simple as it is, sometimes you just need to go back to training blocks. And that's basically how I look at my calendar now, is like training blocks. And like, I feel like I'm back in school. I've got my lunchtime timetable and all of this kind of thing. So, but I think I'll say on the structure and kind of if people want to do time blocking, because lots of people react to those kind of things in different ways, is the one thing I was told is like, you can move things. Obviously, if you put lunch in at 12, but somebody needs to speak to you at 12, just shift it around but make sure you put in those prep times. Make sure you put in those breaks and just those moments to let yourself reset, because once you start doing so many days of back to back, I always think about prep calls. I really do, because I've done so many days where I've literally done 9 till 4 with maybe a half an hour break in the middle of the day of prep calls. It's not healthy. Yeah. It's so draining on you as a producer as well.
Or I think also just something I've learned from myself is, right, we're working 9 to 5. You're going to get very different versions of me along that 9 to 5. There's going to be moments where, I don't know, the caffeine spikes, or you know what it is, there are moments. Sprightly. And just acknowledging that means at some point I will literally be like, I can sense it in myself being like, oh, I'm in the zone where I would happily put my headphones in and I can literally go through my emails in 1 hour and just bang them. And if I start sensing that that's how I'm going, being like, okay, let's take advantage of that and do it. Whereas sometimes you end up being like, oh, but this and that and not doing it. So just being a bit aware of yourself as well.
Yeah. And I hope some people listen to this and feel like...
Yeah, I feel like they also relate. Are there. Yeah, because hopefully it's not just both of us being quite honest here and no one else relates to this.
Like, it's funny because I always say, like, I don't think I used to hate admin. I think I just got to a point where it was so overwhelming. And being very frank, it got to my point where there was like 2,000 emails in my inbox that just hadn't been organised. And I just did not know, like, you can't see through the weeds almost. And like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But having that time to, like, I think I sat down for literally like 3 hours just organising that inbox, trying to, like, rather than just sticking it all in one folder, actually going, okay, I need to sit down, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to find things in the future. I can't just delete everything as well. That's like the worst thing that you can do, because there's always going to be that email you're going to need it again in the future, something you referred to. But
well, that was admin for us. I mean, by the way, if anyone's got any tips, do let us know what worked for you as well.
Yes. I think I need to work on a way of how people can send us tips.
Oh, true,
Is it a LinkedIn? Reach out to us on LinkedIn, or I don't know if I want to set up an Instagram or anything. I think that's no. The absolute look of fear on your face right then, like, oh my God, no. Or maybe reach out on Nuff Said on events, Nuff Said events on Instagram. Actually, I do look at that profile every now and again. So.
You can be my admin dealer of DMs.
Oh
then.
No, I put more admin work on myself. No, it's all good. So, thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Speak soon.